Hey everybody, this is Perch, and let's talk about Spider-Man. Now, this video is filled with spoilers, so if you have not read Amazing Spider-Man number 75, which is the first part of the Beyond era, or the return of Ben Reilly and the sidelining of Peter Parker for at least a length of time, this is also the first issue post Nick Spencer, and it brings in the new Spider-Man writing team of a bunch of people: Saladin Ahmed, Kelly Thompson, Patrick Gleason, Zeb Wells. I'm forgetting somebody. Anyway, it's a group very similar to what they did with the Brand New Day before Dan Slott kind of took over the title, and it certainly feels a lot like we're in that zone again, where Nick Spencer's departure was a little bit premature or not anticipated to be happening as quickly as it has. I think that we can solidly say that now. There's been enough confirmation that he did wrap up his arc a little quicker than was originally planned. And that probably accounts for why the last, few issues have felt a bit more rushed. Now, in fairness, this isn't entirely a kind of a Tom King Batman situation, because we did have a lot of tie-ins, extra issues, point ones, last rights, kind of all these other things. So when we look at Nick Spencer's run, it's not truly 74 issues. It's actually closer to 100 with all these other things coming into it. So when there's the omnibus, if there is one, they will definitely have more of this. There'll be more than 75 issues, 74. However, where it left with issue 74 was that Kindred was defeated. The Harry Osborn situation was more or less resolved, at least for the moment, till more clones stumble around. And it ends with Peter Parker and Mary Jane kind of in a relationship, swinging off into the sunset, if you will. There is a engagement kind of floating around. We haven't seen it yet. But Peter has a ring and is about ready to do that. We did also learn, and I think it was the bigger spoiler from that issue, that the whole reason why Mephisto has been interfering in Spider-Man's life was because his daughter, May Parker, from the Aunt May, that would be really creepy, from the Mary Jane Peter relationship and marriage, that daughter that got erased through One More Day, that daughter was destined to kind of grow up and defeat Mephisto, that she was going to foil his plans and was key to stopping him from taking over things, as a nice twist. So that gave some reasons behind why he's just dicking around with Peter all this time. It certainly seems like Mephisto in the longer run is being set up to be the big bad for Marvel for a period of time, the next Thanos type character. Jason Aaron has been using the character quite a bit in his Avengers run, and now here with Spider-Man, he's had a core part of that title. So I mean, this is going somewhere. They didn't return or restore the marriage like a lot of people I thought thought it was heading, but they did certainly leave the door open to kind of dangling that plot for a little while. And as I've said, kind of on other shows, Marvel's going to drag this out as long as they can. The will they, won't they trope. I mean, we've seen that in network TV. You've seen it, from everything from Cheers to Friends to, this was a sitcom staple of teasing the romance and just letting it move along at a snail's pace. And if they, so if this is something that they're actually going to go forward and do, it's going to be quite a long time. We have a long road of comics, but right now we're in the Beyond era. And we've seen from some of the solicitations, some of the covers that have been posted, Peter appears to be critically injured in a hospital, and certainly Ben Reilly taking the mantle of Spider-Man. And the belief was, something would happen in this last battle with Kindred that would sideline Peter, grave injuries he has to recover from, maybe a loss of powers. Who knows, something. And this is why Ben Reilly had to step into the role, because there always needs to be a Spider-Man. Now, that logic was always a little flawed, because we've got 12 different spider characters at any given moment running around. But anyway, the world has a Spider-Man, has several of them. We don't always need a Spider-Man. We maybe always need less Spider-Man. But anyway, but that was clearly not the case. When you got to the end of 74, Peter was, looked bruised and battered, but was still able to kind of swing his girlfriend Mary Jane up into a highly dangerous position in some kind of like tower overlooking the city that, could result in imminent falling death, something you would think that Peter would be a little bit more cautious about after Gwen, but no. So, how do we get from here to there? Well, issue 75, which kicks off this new era, immediately decides to dive into the absolutely thrilling and nail-biting topic of logo and brand assignment. So what does that mean? Well, basically, it's revealed in this comic, and again, plenty of spoilers here, that the Beyond Corporation, and this is the Beyond Corporation from Next Wave, although the Next Wave comic, they're not going to heavily reference a lot of that Warren Ellis project, but the Beyond Corporation is being shown as a shadowy, up to shenanigans kind of evil corporation, willing to do, whatever it takes to kind of, fulfill their own ends, something we see later in the comic. But at any rate, what happens is that the Beyond Corporation has basically purchased the remaining assets of Peter's former company, Parker Industries. This is during the time period when Dan Slott made Peter Parker a tech billionaire. And they now own the legal rights and name and likeness of Spider-Man. And this is basically when, another one of Slott's runs, the Superior Spider-Man timeframe, Otto Octavius trademarked the Spider-Man name, in theory, for all those lucrative merchandising deals. And plus, he didn't want the Ditko estate to have it. So he basically has, trademarked the name. That trademark is now in the hands of the Beyond Corporation. The Beyond Corporation has basically gone to Ben Reilly and said, you're going to be our new Spider-Man. You've got spider powers. We don't really want to we don't want to get all the Twitter outrage if we go after Miles, and, we're not going to gender swap with one of the female Spider-Men running around. So Ben Reilly, you're our boy. And so Ben Reilly takes the job mainly because, he was worried about who some of the alternate people would be, like they throw Taskmaster in the costume or who knows, something that undoubtedly is going to actually happen at some point. And that's how Ben Reilly is now Spider-Man. He's there because if Peter Parker operates as Spider-Man, he's violating a trademark and the police will come after him. I don't know, something like that. Now, again, you would think that Peter Parker having, friends in the Avengers and She-Hulk could defend him in court and everything else. I think that, what would be the rights? And there is some comedy to Marvel running a who has the rights to a name and a trademark at the same time the Ditko estate is suing Marvel for rights to Spider-Man. I think there's some comedy there that further goes to show that this storyline actually was thought of months ago and was independent of Ditko, because I'm willing to bet that Marvel would not want to have this particular storyline going on at this particular moment, given that the corporation that owns the trademark and is kind of holding on to it is the evil Beyond Corporation that in this issue, we'll get to more of this in a minute, seems to hire the UFOs to go after and attack Peter Parker. And so if we play this analogy out, the good guy, Peter Parker, needs to win, so the rights are restored to them, unless Marvel is doing a very bizarre kind of situation where they think they're Peter Parker and the Ditko estate is actually, the Beyond Corporation in this scenario, which would be quite a hilarious reach for them. But yeah, who knows? Who knows indeed. Anyway, as the comic continues, the Beyond Corporation lets Ben Reilly know that they've reinforced his suit with radiation protection to make him more protected from, just random things. Who knows? Could happen. Nobody really expects anything, but, just to be safe, on the safe side, in case you have to wander into some villain that harnesses radiation, we've upgraded your suit so it protects you. And sure enough, the UFOs attack a minute later and basically, drench Peter with a bunch of radiation. So he's got radiation poisoning. He's injured. That's why he's in the hospital. That's why we're seeing him all hooked up to machines, and that's going to take Peter Parker out of action while he recovers. So that's what's going on. Peter Parker, that damn radiation poisoning. It's a good thing that Peter Parker hasn't ever experienced anything like this before, like, traveling to the Earth's core or going into space or fighting a number of villains that use radiation-based powers, but I'm sure it's all fine. Anyway, so that's where it's at. Basically, Ben Reilly is the new Spider-Man due to trademark issues. The Beyond Corporation pulling the strings, Peter Parker in the hospital for radiation poisoning. Aunt May will be hooking up with Dr. Octopus, old Otto, in a couple issues here to either, in theory, come in and consult on the radiation poisoning, which is super weird, given, again, Peter has a relationship with Reed Richards. You'd think that would probably be a better place to go. But who knows? But more likely, she's going to Otto to maybe help out with the whole trademark issue that maybe he could come and testify. So who doesn't love a good court drama? Anyway, that's how we got from there to here. And so again, tons of spoilers. We have kicked off the new Spider-Man era with this new storyline. And I know this probably sounds snarky and sarcastic, so I'm doing it in a lighthearted way. I mean, hey, anything can work. These storylines, it's fine. Ben Reilly gets a chance to be a double agent for a while. That could be interesting. They're just could work out just fine. Who knows? I'm open to seeing how it will go. We will see. But this is a new status quo for Spider-Man going forward. Radiation poisoning for old Peter until, he finally calls up Reed Richards and Reed, makes some kind of doodad and fixes it in about 2 seconds. And, trademark battles ahead for the Spider-Man name and rights. And what's the Beyond Corporation up to? And will we get a crossover with Next Wave? And when is Kelly Thompson going to insert the Landshark character that she puts into all her comics into Spider-Man? Jeff, right? Yeah. So stay tuned, true believers. Anyway, what do you think about this new angle? Is this something that's going to cause you to jump on the title? Were you following the Spencer run and you're going to jump off the title? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.